All right,
let's
it's
do
time
it. Let's
for us to-
preach it up.
All right, here you go.
Now,
Take it away.
We're going to get straight into this message, but don't start the timer just yet. Just wait a minute, because I want to let you know something. What I'm about to share with you are the highlights. They're just the highlights. They're just the headlines of this thought. So don't take everything I say here as gospel. Make sure you check this message out, which was shared on Sunday morning. So you can go back once this service finishes on YouTube and rewatch this message, and you'll be able to see all the information that is underneath these headlines and these highlights. So are you ready? Here we go. The message is called Jesus 4 Steps to Go and Tell. Or you could call this message Eat It, Don't Tweet It. Here's the key verse. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 to 18 says this. This means that anyone who belongs to Christ, that's you and me, if you've said yes to Jesus, and if you haven't, we're going to give you a chance in a little bit, a few minutes' time to do that, to say yes to Jesus for the first time. If anyone belongs to Jesus, he's a new person. The old life is gone. Let me just say that over you tonight, that old life that you were carrying around with you that was causing you grief, shame, heartache, brokenness, Jesus wants to remind you that that's lifted off you when you say yes to him. So let that be your truth tonight, that you can live in freedom because of what Jesus has done in and for you. It says a new life has begun. And all of this is a gift from God. You can't earn it, you can't pay for it, you can't buy it, you can't beg for it, you can't steal it. It's a gift from God to you, who brought us back to God through Jesus Christ. It's the greatest gift that we'll receive, union with God, in harmony with him and the world and each other. It goes on to say, and God has given us this task. Write in the chat, my task. In the chat, write it now, my task, my task. In the room, everybody say, my task, my task. God has given us this task of reconciling people to him. God has given us something great in the gift of Jesus Christ, and now we get the great job. We're empowered to be a part of the solution and bring Jesus to the world. It's my task, it's your task. It's the go and tell that we're talking about in this series. And if I want to find out how to be a go and tell kind of person that brings this amazing heaven to earth reality in my world, I want to go to the person who did it first, the heaven to earth man himself, Jesus. And so what we're going to do, we're going to have a whirlwind tour through the gospel about how Jesus reached and connected with his world. Now, I can't read every single one of these verses out to you, but I'm looking at John chapter 2, verse 2 to 3, Luke chapter 7, verse 34, Mark chapter 2, verse 25, Matthew chapter 15, verse 37, Luke 14, verse 1, Luke 22, 14, Luke 24, 30, Luke 24, 41, 43, and Romans 16, Romans 16, verse 1. Now, if you missed that, go back and watch the message from Sunday online and share it with your friends and family. It's all there. Plus, if you're in a life group, it's in the message notes, which you'll get this week or next when you meet in your life group. But this is what the New Testament scholar says when he wraps up all of those verses from Luke. He says this is from Robert Curris. It's got on the screen for you. He says, in Luke's gospel, Jesus is either going to a meal, at a meal, or coming from a meal. So what we can see that Jesus uses generous hospitality. He uses food to point to kingdom on earth, to point to and to connect with people in our world. We look, again, these are headlines. Go back and watch the whole thing if you want to unpack it fully. Jesus does 4 things. He takes 4 steps to connect with his world, to reach people, to be a go and tell kind of person. Are you ready for these 4 steps that Jesus takes? They're 4 examples for us to follow to be go and tell kind of people. Are you ready for them? Number 1, write them in the chat. 2 words. First one, Jesus meets. Jesus meets with people, meets people right where they are at, both geographically and socially. And let me tell you this, you too can change the world just like Jesus, one conversation at a time. So never underestimate your power when you are present with people. In church, in your life group, in your school, in your workplace. You turning up makes a difference. And let me tell you this, your presence does more to change the world than your tweets ever will. Jesus meets. Number 2, Jesus eats. I love this. Gathering around a table together. Jesus did it all the time. It's a great leveler. And Jesus knew this. He knew this from tax collectors to priests, prostitutes and the poor. Jesus ate and drank with them all because the table elevates the poor and humbles the proud. It's the place of common ground. Come on, Jesus meets people and he eats with people and then he speaks to people. Jesus speaks, and Jesus never wasted his words. He spoke the truth. In John chapter 8, verse 31, the Bible says, Jesus said to the people who believed in him, "You are truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will" what? "Set you free." People are looking for freedom. They want to find freedom from what's holding them back, from where they're stuck, in their addictions, in their brokenness. And truth comes through Jesus Christ alone. John 14 says, "I am the way, this is Jesus speaking, the truth and the life, and no one can find salvation. No one comes to the Father other than through Jesus, other than through the truth." So speak the truth. It's what Jesus did. And finally, Jesus always asked the question. He said, "Will you turn your life around and follow me?" And that's where we're going to end this message tonight.